Hello, everybody. It's episode number 288 Time Maroon Sports Show right here. And where else would you expect other than WCTV? It's Wadsworth Community Television. It's a great place to be, but I'm pretty sure we all know that by now. What you may not have known is that Jose Ramirez, well, you probably knew this, but he's just been tearing it up for the Guardians. And he's been the only one doing so for the Guardians. It's making me sad, in my opinion. Very sad, because he's got no help. No help. He leads the Guardians in average, runs, hits, doubles, homers, swipes, RBIs, and OPS. 284 average, 81 runs, 137 hits, 24 doubles, 26 long balls, 36 stolen bases, 68 RBIs, and an 862 OPS. He's high up there, actually, excuse me for voice break, but he's high up there for stolen bases amongst the league leaders. He's third, only behind Chandler Simpson, and of course, number one for the Yankees, Jose Caballero. But yeah, still, it's really frustrating to see him have no help whatsoever. And it's really frustrating to see where the Guardians are going lately, because it ain't looking too good, folks. Swept to Texas. Oh boy, swept to Texas. Jose Ramirez did a 2-run double in game one, I will say that. But Jock Peterson one-upped him with a walk-off double in game one. I think Corey Seager tied the game off Cade Smith also in the bottom of the ninth. So that ended that. Made a bunch of people sad in Cleveland like me. Well, not that sad. You'll see why, because, of course, of Highland football happening that night, too. Logan Allen went 5 innings and gave up 9 runs in 5 innings. Oh, ye gods, how does that happen? How? I don't know. What I do know is that Jack Leiter did significantly better than him with 7 shutout. And then to make things even worse the next day, 7 shutout again, this time by Merrill Kelly. And Brian Rocchio had 2 hits in game 3. And this game right here, or this series right here, Guardians against the Rays. Guardians mercifully won this series 2-1. I don't know what would have happened had they lost the series, which could have quite easily have happened, folks. Considering how the third game won. But anyways, Junior Caminero, 2 home runs in game 1, and the Guardians were only able to muster up 2 hits. 2 hits in game 1. In a long rain delay of a game. And Parker Messick, however, did much better. The left-hander dealt 7 shutout in game 2. And the Guardians scored all 3 runs in the first inning of game 2. So, hey, doesn't matter when you score them, it matters if you score them. And in this game, Nolan Jones hit the game-tying home run in game 3. And then Cal Manzar hit a walk-off single at the bottom of the 10th. Let's look at the Guardians right now. Of course, they sit dead even, 66 and 66. Oakland did everybody in the AL Central a favor by sweeping Detroit. What? I don't believe it. But the Guardians still have a long way to go, down 10.5 to the Detroit Tigers. It's looking very, very unlikely in my opinion. And it's making me really sad. They're 5 games back of that third wild card spot. And 2.5 ahead of Tampa. 4.5 ahead of Oakland. Oakland's not doing as bad as I thought they'd be. They're tied with the Angels for dead last in the division. Oh boy. And Baltimore, Minnesota are both tied for second to last. And the White Sox are the White Sox. Do we have to say anything else? But anyways, this weekend, Cleveland is hosting Seattle. Ooh, that won't be easy. That won't be easy, folks. Saturday is going to be on Channel 8, so be sure to watch that. And then once the schedule hits September, it'll be at Fenway, of course. 2 red-hot teams that are vying for playoff spots in the Seattle Mariners and the Boston Red Sox. Both teams would be in the playoffs if the season ended today, so there is that. Yeah, I don't like that stretch, folks. I don't like that stretch. Who's next? Tampa at Steinbrenner Field. Then Kansas City, who's better than the Guardians. And then the White Sox. But you got 6 games against Detroit. That won't be easy. And Texas to end the season. And of course, Minnesota, 4-game slate there. Everyone said the season was going to be easy for the Guardians. I don't see it. I really don't. But you know what I do see? I do see that Tommy's Picks recap. Yes, let's look at that, shall we? Yes, we shall. All right, went 13-7 last week in high school football and only high school football. Highland down to McDowell with ease, 49-10. What else happened? Avon beat St. Ignatius 40-14. St. Ads, they trounced Pickerington North at the Finney Stadium, 24-0. And then in an early candidate for Game of the Year, Glenville beat Massillon Washington 33-27. They had a big blocked field goal in overtime that denied Washington the first score of overtime, and then Glenville proceeded to walk it off with a touchdown, so it probably wouldn't have made a difference anyways, but still got that momentum on their side to beat a tough team like Massillon Washington. That ain't easy. Trotwood Madison against Cleveland Heights. To my surprise, Trotwood Madison won 42-7. Big time over Cleveland Heights, my goodness. And then another surprising game. I mean, both teams are very great, though. But Walsh just got past Toledo Central Catholic at Toledo Central Catholic High School. 17-14, Fighting Irish take the loss. The D3 powerhouse loses to the D2R5 powerhouse. Benedictine at John Carroll University. Boo John Carroll, but they beat Gilmore 21-19. Here's a shocking game for you, folks. Cardinal Mooney beat Lake Catholic 30-13 at Cardinal Mooney, so the Cardinals win that one. Wadsworth beat Barberton by a score of 55-7 at Artwright Stadium. My goodness. And Ordonia shut out St. Vincent M. You gods 42-0. And then Valley Forge beat North Royalton. My goodness, Valley Forge, they're usually struggling, but hey, good to see them win. 33-29. Medina beats Stowe at Stowe 21-13. Twinsburg edges by Boardman 29-28. At the Brunswick All-March Stadium, Berea Mid-Park got by them 28-7. Well, it was quite the barn burner. I believe it was at Manor High School, but the Cardinals win it anyways, 35-28, of course. Holben beat Harvest Prep by a score of 31-12. Buckeye beat Cloverleaf 41-0. And Jackson, how about Massillon Jackson? They beat Chardon by a score of 35-13. North Ridgeville against North Olmsted. North Ridgeville blanks North Olmsted just like Buckeye, 41-0. And Kenston beats Solon 30-13. So 13-7 again. 15 points, not bad. But could be better. So let's look at the Tommy's picks for this week. Yes, let's look at them for this week. Anyways. We got FBS football. How about that, folks? But anyways, Highland Hudson, home opener for us at the North Gateway Tire Field, of course, where we'll have our annual Taste of Highland. Gotta go with the Hornets. We do a good job, but Hudson does a good job too. Don't sleep on the Explorers. They are in the Fantastic 50 rankings, if I'm not mistaken. They sit at 44 in the state. We sit at 14 in the state. That's going to be a lot of fun. Are we higher than Washington? Yes, we are. How about that? Higher than Central Catholic. Who would have thunk it? Wow, that's surprising in my opinion. But I'll take it. And, of course, speaking of schools I go to, at Bonwallis University, Berea Mid-Park's taking on Euclid. My lock of the week's got to be Berea Mid-Park, no doubt about it. They are going to smack Euclid silly out there. It's not going to be close. Brecksville will beat Talmadge. Brecksville went to 1-0. They beat Aurora last week. I thought Aurora was going to have an easy schedule this season like they usually do, but no, that's not the case. They lost to Brecksville week 1. So we'll see how the Green Men will bounce back, but they're not on this agenda out here. Barberton, I think, will upset Stowe. I don't know why I'm thinking they'll upset Stowe. I just think they have a good shot at it. Maybe it's me. Anyways, Aurora's got Lutheran West at Lutheran West. Maybe that's why I didn't pick it. But oh well. Medina's going to beat Hoover. Strongsville will beat Solon. And Elyria Lorraine. Two teams are both 0-1 on the campaign. I'm going with Elyria to win that one. Olmsted Falls against Brunswick. I am picking the Bulldogs. Someone will go to 1-1 on the season. The other one falling to 0-2. Unfortunately. Lakewood against Rhodes. Gonna pick Lakewood. Buckeye against Amherst. I think that might be the Fox 8 game of the week, I think. Fox 8 game of the week. Buckeye Amherst. Who would have thunk it? But anyways, it's been a lot of fun for both teams, rather. And I think Amherst wins it. Lake Catholic against Avon Lake. I got to go with, Lake Catholic, of course. That's who I think will win it. And what else is going on? North Ridgeville against Valley Forge. Picking North Ridgeville. The Bears will beat the Generals of Worcester. Revere, the Minutemen over Garfield. And Woodridge against Brookside. Going to pick Woodridge. Cloverleaf Keystone picking the Wildcats. Columbia against Fairview, picking the Columbia Raiders. Vermilion against Firelands, going with Vermilion. I think Austin Town Fitch will beat Jackson. And Riverside will beat Green. Now it's time for FBS football. That's right, it's that time. Lee Corso's very last game of College Game Day. Very last episode of College Game Day. For him, it's going to be very bittersweet. Tears will be shed. Laughs will be had. It should be one of the highest rated college game days in history. I think it should be number one. I'm pretty sure everybody's tuning into ESPN come, Saturday in a mere 2 days from now. They had that Lee Corso documentary, which I think was awesome. My pick, Texas. I really think Texas is going. I think Lee Corso is going with Ohio State to conclude it. I think it'd be only appropriate because he always picks Ohio State, and that was his first pick for headgear. I think he's going to end it with that, but I think Texas will win. I really do. Tennessee will beat Syracuse. Lock of the week. Had to pick an easy game out there. Penn State against Nevada. Why not Penn State? Florida State against Alabama. I'm thinking Florida State bounces back this season with an upset win over Alabama. Who knows what's going to happen? I don't, but you never know. Anyways, Clemson, LSU picking Clemson. Virginia Tech will beat South Carolina. Notre Dame, Sunday night against Miami at Hard Rock Stadium. You got to go with the Irish. Marcus Freeman really knows how to make a winning team happen, folks. I think Purdue's going to beat Ball State. Toledo will upset Kentucky. Toledo is supposed to be that team to watch out for this season. I'd have to agree with that. They do a good job. Iowa will beat Albany in a low-scoring affair or something like that because that is simply Iowa football for you. USC against Missouri State, picking USC. BYU will beat Portland State. Washington State over Idaho. Those are just some simple games where I had to fit the 16-game criteria. Oregon State, they will beat Cal. Troy will beat Nichols. And TCU will beat North Carolina. Bill Belichick's first game. Yeah, Bill Belichick is coaches North Carolina. I don't get it. I don't get this whole Bill Belichick thing either. I'm sure he was a great coach with the Patriots, but still. Oh, well. Oh, well, time for NFL football predictions. I would have my giant extravaganza, but we are running a little bit low on time. But anyways, just a little bit of some history for you folks. 2 years ago, I correctly predicted that good old Kansas City Chiefs, unfortunately, they would win the Super Bowl over the San Francisco 49ers, and then it happened. My goodness. And then last year, I picked the Rams to beat the Chiefs, so I did correctly guess who I thought was going to lose, the Super Bowl, but let me check. I had the Rams beating the Chiefs, indeed. And I had the Eagles losing in the NFC Championship game. If I only picked the Eagles to win it and then the Eagles over the Chiefs, I would be the two-time Super Bowl pick champion of WCTV. But unfortunately, I was wrong, and it makes me rather sad. But you know what? Let's get right back to it, because when you look at the playoff teams, the AFC East will be won by the Bills. I think if the Bengals can stay healthy in a perfect universe, they will win the AFC North. Houston will win the weak AFC South. AFC West, who else? Kansas City, unfortunately. And the wild cards belong to Baltimore, sadly, Denver, and Los Angeles. I got the Browns going 4-13, by the way. They don't have a prayer this year. I mean, Joe Flacco's good and all, but The dude's almost 40. If he even is 40. Let me check Joe Flacco's age. Anyways, Joe Flacco age. He's 40. He's 40. So I was right. He is 40. Holy cow. Anyways, NFC East Eagles, NFC North Lions, NFC South Buccaneers, NFC West going to be the Rams, and the wild cards will be the Commanders, the 49ers, and the Packers. So there is that. Playoff predictions. AFC wild card, that will be the Bills over the Chargers, Bengals over the Broncos, and the Rams over the Texans. NFC wild card, Rams over the Packers, 49ers over the Buccaneers, Lions over the Commanders. AFC divisional round, you got the Chiefs over the Ravens and Bills over the Bengals. NFC, it's going to be Eagles over 49ers. I'm thinking the Rams are going to beat the Lions. Then the Bills and Rams face off in the Super Bowl. I'm going LA again. I don't know why. It's going to be pretty close to where they play at Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara. So there is that. You know what? There also is MVP. I think it might go to perhaps Lamar Jackson. It always goes to the best quarterback. They might as well rename it to Best Quarterback of the Year instead of MVP. Because the Offensive Player of the Year really is the MVP in my opinion. West, the defensive player, just has a monster season. So, yeah, there's an Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, and MVP, which is essentially the Quarterback of the Year now. No one's won that outside of a quarterback since Adrian Peterson in 2012 when he had that season of a lifetime, just less than 10 yards short of Eric Dickerson's record. I mean, Saquon Barkley didn't win it last year, and look how crazy of a season that dude had. Anyways, next week we will talk more about high school football, and next week we will talk more about college football. And actually, we will talk D3 football. And, of course, we will talk about the National Football League as their seasons will be up and running. Anyways, checking out my schedule. Tuesday, got a volleyball game at Talmadge. Wednesday, a soccer game at Copley. And after that will be, actually, I think it's a soccer game at Copley, if I'm not mistaken. Nope, it's home. I stand corrected. And then Thursday, volleyball against Barberton, or boys soccer against Akron North. And then football at Avon Lake. And then boys soccer at Buckeye. I have it colored gray. That's not right. It should be colored green in that case because it's home. But anyways. Thank you for watching. I'm Tommy Maroon. We had a blast today. I'll see you next week.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.